name is Leroy Blevins. Welcome to Mysteries and Histories. I'd like to apologize that I've been making no videos here the past few days or so because my mom was down here and I've been taking care of her and trying to take care of some of her business that she needed taken care of. And, so I haven't had a chance to make any videos. Also, as reading along here and there, I was going over some of my videos and stuff and reading some of the comments people's making, how people sitting there saying that I'm making false statements, I'm giving out disinformation, and, making all bad kinds of claims. But I'm always expecting that because I understand people don't want to know the truth, okay? But in this video here, what I want to do is I want to talk a little bit about the JFK assassination. And I also want to go into some details and explain some things in realistic terms, in logic, okay? When a lot of people does research on the JFK assassination, they base it on, like I claimed, and I could even show, they base it on what eyewitnesses tell them or stories that's told to them. I don't go base none of my research on none of that stuff, because you base your stuff on that, all you're doing is basing everything on false information. That's the way I look at it. That's why I mark it down as false information. Now, if you study my research and you go over my research, even people read my books, I show in my videos, I tell people this is what I look at when I do my research or when I do my investigations. This is what I look at. And this is what everybody else looks at. One vehicle, no people, nobody filming anything, nobody around. You cannot get information from this. Every information that you're pulling from this is false information. So when we go back and we look at this, well, we know there was cops and stuff on the overpass. This has been in reports and documents, even in documentaries and stuff. For any gunman to be up here, even on this south corner here, they're going to have a cop right on top of them because it's all open. It's all open. There ain't nothing covering their back flank. They might have something in front of them, but they ain't got nothing behind them. They're easy to be spotted. They're easy to be seen. Same thing is for a picket fence area right here. Right here, they're all in the open. They got a man over here in a booth, where the trains are. You got people walking in and out up here, going into cars and stuff. You got people all over the place. Any assassin would know. They would not leave themselves open. This is a pure, simple fact. Even if you look at Oswald's location, okay, Oswald, let me go back here in this file here. Even as you see Oswald's image right here, well, the image of the sniper's nest, excuse me, he had something covering his back. So if someone came up running up there and they seen Oswald and stuff, he has, place where he can hide and, duck down behind something and fire, comes up, fires, and hides again. So he's got his back covered, he's got his right covered, he's got every angle covered for him. Now, we'll go back to this image here, which is this image here. We'll go back to this one. There's no way they're open, clear view anywhere around the picket fence area. I would not, as an assassin, I would not even be in a drain storm. Being in a drain storm, you got yourself trapped. What if someone's seen your gun sticking out or your rifle sticking out? Especially when you got people right across the street from you. You pull out a rifle. They're going to say, hey, there's somebody down in that drain. Cops will be all up and shooting down in there. Okay? They could sneak up right above him and slide their hand down in and start firing away. They could place somebody over here, place somebody over here, place somebody over here, somebody over here, somebody over here, in a matter of seconds. So that assassin would have been gone. By placing the assassins in this room, in this shelter right here, they are undercover. So if they actually do get spotted or whatever, they have a place they can hide, which is the brick wall, and take their shots. They can still take shots until they run out of bullets or anything else, but they can still be undercover. They have their backs covered, so no one's going to be able to see them from the back. No one's going to be able to see them from the side, which we're lucky that people actually got pictures of them okay, because they think there's going to be blocked by this wall or this wall here, but they're more in cover. Just like up here, 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository. We know the sniper's nest, Oswald had that wall barrier there. We know up here on the top floor of the county records building, we know that no one can see from that location except from the Dow Tex building. But remember, Mr. Zapruder run the 4th and 5th floor. So there wasn't nobody on the 4th and 5th floor because it was all downstairs stuff because he made everybody go down there. He wanted to make sure that the 5th floor and the 4th floor was completely cleared. A man on the 2nd floor of the county records building, that's a closed off room. So we don't know if it was boxed up or not because no one's never even bothered looking in there. Just like if you look at the layout where it got the gunman. Everybody knows JFK's car. JFK was sitting on the right side of the car. Placing any gunman on the left side would be stupid because you would end up shooting Mrs. Connolly, Mrs. Kennedy, or somebody else. Taking a shot from the front, it'd be a stupid shot for an assassin to take because you're going to either hit the driver, passenger, Mrs. Connolly, or Governor Connolly before you can get to Kennedy. So see, any shots from behind would have to be on JFK's right side, and it would have to be up high for any shots to come from behind, which as you see here, 2nd floor Texas County Records building, up high. Rooftop of the County Record building, up high. 6th floor Texas School Book Depository, up high. If you're going to take a shot from down low, you better be on the right side. The assassin will be on the right side, and he's going to be down lower where he can take that shot, where there won't be nobody in his way. So he has time to take his aim, take his shot. This is called doing an investigation and being realistic about it. Just like people says, well, no, the gunman, if you look at this angle here, you can't even see the windows of the Dalatex building. Okay? Now, if Mr. Zapruder, as you watch my other films and my videos and stuff like that, you'll see there where Mrs. Setzman came up, put her hands over Mr. Zapruder's ears and stuff and covered when the shots were being fired and stuff. If Mr. Zapruder was in on the assassination, would he want people firing any kind of rifles or being an assassin from the Dalatex building? Because that will lead them back to the Dalatex building, which will lead him right into Mr. Zapruder's lap. So it'd be senseless to place any shooter or assassin in the Dalatex building if Mr. Zapruder was in on it. See, when we're doing research, we have to look at facts. We have to be realistic. We have to think, okay, of the layout. We have to think of what was going on there that day, who was all there that day, what was, taking place that day. This is why I analyze the films and images. Okay, this is why I base my research on films and images, because this is what we can see. This is called evidence that we can see. Everybody knows that there's a lot of false claims going around in the assassination of JFK. Because what makes it that way is because since, they're basing everything on 3 shots, and they're also thinking of basically Oswald was the lone assassin and stuff like that. This left open doors for thousands and thousands of claims, thousands and thousands of stories. That's why the case was never closed, and it's still open today. But if you look at realistic on everything that went on, like having gunmen on the right side. I want to point this out real quick. If you study my research, you look at my research, everything that I show, everything I claim fits what took place that day. Just like the person that contacted me and asked me to do the investigation into this case, they asked me and they said, could you do me a favor? And I said, what? And they said, can you do an investigation here? I was a witness at the assassination, but it's been years now, and from the stories I've told and heard on TV, books I've read and everything else, none of that matched anything that this person's seen. So I said, well, all I know about the case was Oswald did it in those 3 shots, that was it. And there was something called a magic bullet or something, And he says, yeah, but, you know, there's a lot more to it. I seen, you know, a lot more and I heard a lot more that day. So I said, okay, fine. I'll, you know, look into it. So when I started ordering films and images and stuff, I started going over reports and everything else. And a lot of things didn't seem right. It seems like everything that was told and said about it, nothing fit. When I started getting these films and images in, nothing was fitting anything that I'm seeing. So I can understand why that person was confused about it all. Now, after I found out all the information I got and evidence I collected, I contacted that person again. We went over this evidence and stuff. And the person looked at me and says, this is the first time that he's ever seen all that I presented was exactly what took place that day. That from what they seen. And then they asked me, was you there? I said, well, no, I wasn't born until 1967. But anyway, it matched, just like everything else I matched. Now, I also have people making comments about, well, your research is full of it, or saying bad things, or one thing or another. What I find so interesting, if anybody wants to do some serious research, research this. For over 50 years, okay, which actually I say past 47 years before I got into it, I think. 2005 I got into this. But anyway, if you watch and you look and you see the story was always the same. You have researchers claiming that there's a conspiracy, but no one had the evidence. Here I come along. I find the evidence of a conspiracy. I found that evidence that they've been searching for, that they've been seeking for. I have it firsthand. I got this evidence. But they don't want to back it because of pure fact it doesn't back their research. Because yes, I like to point out in my other videos, I talk to some of these researchers by email or by phone. They ask me personally, would my research fit into their research? I tell them, no, there's no way. Only one come close, well actually two people came close to almost matching what I found was Jim Myers, when he said it was a crossfire. This is a fact, it was a crossfire. Donahue, which said one shot came in from the left and going out to the right, but it only went in 15 centimeters. That one. But everything else, it doesn't fit. But with the evidence I have collected and stuff. But anyway, what people don't understand is this. They're willing to start down on my research, saying bad things about my research. But think about this. For the 40-something years, we was told the same old story over and over again. But as soon as I start coming out with my research, okay, now stories are starting to change. Things are getting different in the JFK assassination world. People studying the films and the images a lot more closer and a lot more now than they ever did, because before it was always, well, this film was altered, that film was altered, and everything else. Even some of these people that made the claims, some of these top JFK researchers making these claims that this was altered and that was altered. All of a sudden now they're saying, well, these films wasn't altered. Okay? Then they're going to sit there just like I said, I put the claim out there was 13 shots fired. Then you have all these other people going, for years they were saying, well, there could be 3, 4, 5 shots fired that day. But no more than 5 or, no more than 5 shots. But now, again, their story is changing after my research come out. Now they're saying there was up to 12 to 14 to 16 shots fired. Go look back. Go look at some of their videos. Some of their old videos and then some of their new videos. You'll see how their stories change right after I come out and start presenting my research. People don't want to believe my research, but it's funny that these researchers are changing the story now, and their research is almost fitting into mine. I've claimed that JFK was shot 4 times. Another researcher out there now is starting to claim that JFK was shot 4 times. Okay? I claimed Governor Collin was shot twice, but they said no, Governor Collin was shot 3 times. Just changing the story just a tweak more. Just like this guy right here. Okay, he was on Buzzsaw or whatever his name is. I forgot his name. He was an actor. He played in a Superman movie, and he was a boxer and stuff. He comes out with a book a couple years ago, and even in his interview, and even in his story, he said there was 13 shots fired. There was 13 shots fired all around Mr. Zapruder. So basically, he's throwing Mr. Zapruder in on it, and there's 13 shots fired all around him. I'm the only one that ever came up with 13 shots. I'm the only one mostly pointing out the fact about Mr. Zapruder. Okay? Now people's changing their stories. Ever since I come out with mine. Now, nobody wants to believe my research or talk about my research or tell other people about my research. Just like I have some friends. I'm not going to say the person's names. Okay? I had some friends. They went to go see some of these JFK researchers at these conferences. Now, somehow or another, my name was brought up into it. Well, what do you think about Leroy Blevins, as they said, Leroy Blevins' theory of the two gunmen in the shelter? Okay. That researcher, that JFK researcher, said, "Are you going to buy my books?" And they said, "No, I just asked you a question." They told him to go F off. As you know, I said F off because I don't like using that much cussing when in my videos. They told my friend and them to go F off if they wouldn't go buy none of his books. Or their books, I think. I can't remember if it was, okay, now, their books. If they wouldn't go buy their books, they can go F off. Now, I find that kind of really rude. Now, me, as a researcher, I have books. I have this book right here. And I have other JFK books. But my complete research of who's behind the JFK assassination and everything else is right here. In this one book here. Evidence of a Conspiracy. I have books for sale. I place their links if anybody wants to order. I place links in the information below, but I'm not pushing it. If they don't want to buy it, they don't have to buy it. If they want to know what happened that day, I'll tell them about it. I make videos about it all the time. I present my evidence for free every day, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's here on YouTube. I present my research. Go ask one of these other researchers, "Hey, show me your evidence." They're going to say, "Buy the book." You want the evidence, you have to buy the book. Because they don't give that information out for free. Me, I give the information out for free all the time. Like in these videos here. I give that information out. I show that information. I show the images, just like right here. I'll show you images right now. Here's the location of the gunmen. How I know, because here's the images of them. With rifles in their hands and everything else. Photographic evidence of each one of the shots. This is shot number 1 of 5. Came from the 6th floor Texas School Book Depository. Lee Harvey Oswald took them 2 shots. I'll show you it all right here. Shots 2, 3, 8, and 13 came from the 2nd floor of the County Records Building. Here's photographic evidence. Shots 4 and 6 came from the shelter and the 2 gunmen behind the shelters, which was 2 of the tramps, which I'm going to make a video on that and show you why these 2 tramps are the assassins that was in the shelter. I have plenty of evidence to back this up. And when you see this one, you're going to love this. But anyway, here's shots seen in the films and everything else. And then we have shots 9, 10, 11, 12, and 7. Photographic evidence of the gunman, his location, and these shots being taken. So see, it's all, I place all this stuff in the videos. I point out facts, just like JFK's head being exploded. Shot number 1 strikes JFK in the back. The bullet enters 15 centimeters and stops. And by some coincidence, because people can't say, well, coincidences don't happen. Yeah, coincidences do happen. I don't care what anybody says. Coincidences do happen. And when you're going into moving, when you take a shot and you're moving at the same time, it's like this. Boom. And that's what happened to JFK's head. Say this is JFK's head. First shot enters back of JFK's head, enters 15 centimeters coming in from the left to the right. With that bullet entering in JFK's head, cracked the skull a little bit. Then when the bullet enters from the end to the right, made contact with that the first shot to back of JFK's head. Both of them bullets made contact. Boom! Exploded out right side of JFK's head. and bullet fragments was all over the place, all over back seat, all over through his brain, in his brain and scalp and skull. Just like I sit there, read some comments where they said, well, what about, all these 20-something doctors, that was at Parkland Hospital. They said, the bullet holes, the back end of his head was blown off, I can't believe that. And here's the reason why. Because when JFK was took into Parkland Hospital, Mr. Hill, Agent Hill, took his coat off and covered over JFK's head. So no one could see his head as they was taking him into the operating room. Then when he was in there, they had 2 doctors in there and a couple of nurses, and most of that room was filled with Secret Service agents and military men and police officers. Now we have 2 doctors in there, but just 25 doctors that seen the hole. That was at Parkland. When they took Kennedy in the hospital, his head was covered. When they took him out of the hospital, he was already in a casket with his head covered. So how does all these doctors see this big old gap hole in the back of JFK's head? It's because they're basing everything on hearsay. Hearsay, yeah, his head was exploded open. It all depends which way he's looking. Which way they actually had his head facing at the time. I had an uncle that went through surgery. He had his ear, they was operating on his ear. And they forgot which side he was looking at when they were sewing his ear back on. They sewed his ear upside down and backwards on him. Go figure that one out. He had to walk around 2 or 3 months with his ear upside down and backwards until he had to take him back into surgery and reverse his ear around. Because they had to let it heal first, and then they had to cut him open again and put it back the right way. So things do happen. With someone staring at it, that's like, people says when they looked at the bullet casings, they only seen 2. It all depends where the angle you're looking at, because if you're trying to look over somebody, that 3rd bullet casing, you're not going to see. You're going to be able to just see the 2 when you look in a sniper's nest. So see, you have to understand what was going on at the time and what location it was on when they seen it, what they looked at or anything else. And a lot of stories, if you, just like me, when I read first interviews, and gone over interviews that they filmed, as years go by, all of a sudden these interviews getting different and different and different. Just like when I went over reports. Another reason why points it to where there was actually more gunmen, because anybody knows, when you look at the charges that were brought upon Oswald, they had him charged with the murder of Tippit, Officer Tippit they had him charged for, and they had him charged for JFK's killing. But what about the attempted murder on Governor Connolly's life? What about the, attempted murder charges on him for Mr. James Tague? Okay. Even though they got shot in the process, that's attempted murder as well. But there's no charges even talked about them. In all the police reports and them, they talk about them getting hit, but there's no charges brought upon Oswald for Governor Connolly's wounds or James Tague's wounds. Only Kennedy and Officer Tippit's murder. That was it. Only 2 charges on him. So this also makes me think that they know there was more gunmen there at that time. They know there was more shots fired because you've seen the films and you've seen the images. Just like people says, these films and images altered. If I was going to alter an image and alter a film, one, you have to have them all in one spot at the same time. You have to. Because if you alter one image, you have to line every one of them images up. And you have to alter each one of them frames or images from these movies. Okay. Just like I just pull up this image right here. Okay. For me to alter one frame in the Zapruder film, I would have to have the Zapruder film, the Nix film, the Bronson film, the Darnell film, and the much more film, and all of them line up together. Just change out one frame, then line up each one of the frames with each one of the images, alter them, go back into the limo, alter that, then go into JFK, alter that. There's too much altering done, and none of these films and none of these images were in the same place at the same time. Mr. Zapruder got copies of his film. He got his film back the next day. He got his film back the same, the next day. When Orville Nix turned his film in, it wasn't even developed. They're not going to give you that information. How was it even developed? He turned it in a couple weeks later after the assassination. It was not developed. He turns it in. They developed it. After they developed it, they turned the film back to him. So now we have the Zapruder film already copied and stuff. The day of the assassination, they gave the film back to Mr. Zapruder. 2 weeks later, Mr. Nix turns his film in. They develop it, take a copy of it, hand him back his original film. Okay, so these two films weren't in the same place. Much more film came in play at a later date. The Mormon photo came in that same day. So see, you have a lot of things you have to look at. And this is the truth. You have to look a lot of things you have to look at to say something was altered. If I was going to alter a film, like I said, one film, just altering one image or one frame in a film, I would have to get all the films together and line them all together. Just to make that one alter. Then, if I was going to alter film, why wouldn't they take out the shots that's seen in the Zapruder film? The shots of the manhole cover. They didn't take them out. They didn't take the bullet even ricocheting upward. They didn't take the shots out of the 2 bullets hitting the grass area. They didn't take the bullet shot that hit the sign on the lamppost. They didn't take none of that out. If you're going to alter something, and they know these spots have been hit, if you're just going to alter something, you would alter them images there. So and when someone analyzes the film or something, they're going to know it's, they won't be able to find them shots, but I found them. So people has to realize, okay, they can make all the bad comments they want, because like I said, I really don't bother me none, because I'm used to it, because people really don't want to know the truth, because I can't blame them in a way, because they're basically basing the people who leave the comments as really not researchers, okay? Because if they was researchers themselves, they would know the truth, okay? But they're really not researching it. But anyway, the people leaving comments, I know they're just people that read this person's book, that person's book, and this person's book, and that person's book. They're just basing what they think happened compared to mine. I can understand that. It's just like everybody knows that people get brainwashed and brainwashed. That's why I don't push none of my research on people. If they don't believe it, they don't believe it. I'm not going to push it on them. They don't want my book, they don't have to buy my book. They have a question, I'll answer it. I'm not afraid to. If they want to see some of my evidence I got, I'll show them it up front. Okay? All they have to do is ask. But anyway, I want to make this video just to let everybody know the reason why I didn't make some videos lately, and give a little bit more information on JFK assassination. Hopefully somebody would take something from this, and if they ever do research or anything on a subject, they know what to look for, stay away from certain things. And if people put you down and stuff like that, don't let it bother you, overlook it. But there is one other thing I want to point out too, and that's another reason why I wanted to make this video. People says about being assassinated. Government's out to kill everybody, or this person's out to kill everybody that knows anything about the JFK assassination. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, because I had too many comments and too many people that I talked to on the phone going, aren't you scared of your life? Aren't you afraid? Are you hiding? Because I actually had somebody call me one time. It was Tom Biscardi. Okay, everybody knows I analyzed films for him in the past. And he says, hey, I heard, it's been a while since I talked to you. I said, yeah. I said, so, what's going on, Tom? He says, you okay? And I said, yeah, I'm all right. Why? He says, I heard that you're in hiding. I was like, hiding for what? He says, that's what I've been told. You're in hiding, no one knows where you're at. Just like you dropped off the map, and you're hiding. I said, nope, I'm still in the same place, got the same phone number, same address. I've been here all the time. I still make videos, still post on Facebook. Excuse me, go take a drink. Coke of a choice of a new generation. Anyway, I still do all this stuff, but, people are thinking that if you know anything about JFK assassination, you're going to get wiped out. Okay, I've been posting my research for some time now, for some years. I've Got books out with my research in it, and images and evidence, and I have a lot of evidence that proved there was actually more gum in there and everything else. I even went on Twitter and posted stuff, showing the images on the FBI sites and CIA sites. I've even contacted them and told them, about what I have and everything else. I'm still around. I'll walk outside. I'll sleep outside. I go out and I go up the road and everything else. People just went too far to keep other people from looking for the truth. That's what it is. Basically, if they keep a good hush hush on it and throw out these theories and out these stories, people's not going to look for the real truth because they'd be afraid that someone's going to come after them. But this is caused by these JFK researchers of the past. They want to throw this out there and make this claim, make this statement, scare the hell out of people so they'll stay away from this case so they can continue making money. Because one thing I did find out when I did research on JFK assassination, that it's nothing but a moneymaker. It's a money-making company for people. People's been making from day one assassination money off this guy's murder, and that's what gets me aggravated. The only reason why I sell books, I don't make that much money off the books. I make pennies basically off these book sales because I got to keep it low, but they're high because all the images and colorized images. But I have to show the evidence. I have to show the evidence. A lot of people make $1, $2, $3 for each copy of their books and whatever, that's all pocketed to them. They ask for tons of donations. They get paid for going to these conferences and all this other stuff. I've been blocked from conferences. They won't allow me in conferences because I called one time trying to get into a conference on the JFK assassination, even in Bigfoot. But I've been banned from them. Don't know why. Been banned from them. They won't allow me into them. I mean, it was actually some of my friends called and says, hey, I want to book reservations and his stuff. And there was a key rule. You don't talk about Leroy Blevins or his research, no matter what it is, which I never did understand that either. So maybe this will give you some insight on a lot of things, and like I said, I want to make a video and explain a few things. The government's not going to come after you if you do research on JFK assassination. If you find any evidence, go ahead and post it. No one's going to come after you. No one's going to come after you. That's just a false story that people want to make up. Just because all these eyewitness people died, but everybody dies all the time. Okay, they was there, they seen the assassination, so they ended up getting killed down the road or whatever. That's life. Okay, that's life. But the government wasn't out to kill them. The mafia wasn't out to kill them, because the mafia, if they're going to kill you, they're going to take you out no matter what. So I just want to post this video here, explain a little bit more, and trying to get everything resolved. Excuse me. Thank you and good night. And don't forget to subscribe and don't forget the likes. I got 2 more videos I made before this one, which I'm going to post as well, which talks about Mr. Zapruder and where Oswald hid his rifle. I'm also got more videos I'm probably make tomorrow, which is some more information that no one talks about or no one knows about, but me, I got to put it out there. Thank you and good night.